I knew I was in trouble the moment his scent hit me. It wasn't that he was an alpha. I dealt with alphas before, sat next to them in class, passed them in the hallway, learned to tune them out. But this was something else. He smelled like smoke drifting through the cold, like whiskey hitting glass, like something warm and steady and just a little bit dangerous. And the worst part? He was standing right there. In my room, the new roommate for the year. Chapter 1. The Lie That Lets Me Breathe. For 6 years, I pretended to be someone I wasn't. Kept it up day after day, and honestly, it worked. At least it did up until now. Being a beta? It's a breeze. No one's peering at you, waiting for you to screw up. Nobody expects you to lead or fall apart. You aren't bigger than life like an alpha. You aren't breakable, precious like an omega. You're just there, slipping by, blending in, drifting through classrooms, down city streets, across crowded hallways, unnoticed, uncategorized, untouched. No one owns you. I figured all that out young, way before law school ever crossed my mind, before I even presented, back when I still thought fairness was real, something you could count on. My father always told me Omegas mattered most, that we got all the love, all the care. The world made room for us. Everyone said so, at least. I believed him. I wanted to. Then my dad died. Not the Omega. My alpha father. Gone just like that. Some drunk driver on a late night. A phone call that cracked my life open. No one arrested, no trial, not even a suspect. Just blank space where answers should be. And there we were. My other dad, Omega, left behind, alone. That was the first time I saw how things actually worked for Omegas. Nobody cherished us. Nobody protected us, especially not when it really mattered. I watched people talk right past him, gently edging him toward some future they imagined that would fix him. Saying stuff like, "You'll remate, right?" Or, "You shouldn't stay alone. It's not safe for an Omega." Nobody cared what he wanted. They never do. Everything inside me shifted then. I knew what I didn't want. I didn't want my whole life to shrink down to something soft and small because other people decided that's what I should be. When it was finally my turn, when I presented, I made a choice. Suppressants, scent blockers, cologne, mixed until I smelled like nothing at all. It was all about control. I turned myself into a beta. Law school isn't made for people like me. Not if you're an Omega anyway. They don't come out and say it, but the proof is everywhere. In who gets called on, who professors take seriously, who snags those coveted first-year internships. Alphas take the spotlight. Betas keep the engine running behind the scenes. Omegas? Most vanish, switching majors before anyone remembers their name. Not me. I decided I'd never disappear. So I worked. Pushed myself harder than anyone should have to. First year almost broke me. The reading stacks, half-slept nights, everyone around me desperate to stay standing. I caught on quick, figured out which people mattered, who could drag you down, who you needed by your side. All the while, I stayed invisible. That was my trick. Never stick out, never give anyone a reason to look closer than you want. You have to play the long game. Hide in plain sight. That's how you survive. It worked. For a year, I barely breathed. Until today. I was still gripping my schedule in one hand when the email landed in my inbox. Subject, room assignment update. Almost didn't bother opening it, thought it was just some schedule shift, maybe a different floor. But no, I read it once, twice. The third time my stomach twisted. New roommate assigned, Alexander Blackwood. His name, it hit me before my brain registered the danger. Everyone knows who Alexander Blackwood is. Old money, prosecutor bloodline, top of every class. Those internship offers people whisper about and envy. He's the sort professors remember, the kind classmates watch, the sort everyone listens to. The sort of alpha I've spent a year dodging like landmines. So now I'm supposed to live with him. My hand tightened on my phone, mind already racing. Dorms don't separate betas and alphas. Never have. Why would they? There's no reason, no real risk. Unless, of course, someone isn't who they say they are. All that effort, all my control, This life I erected out of caution and willpower, it all rests on something you can't see but could shatter in a second. Now, I'm about to share a room with the one guy who could blow it all apart just by being himself. I told myself I could handle it. I'd be fine. I've still got control. Then I opened the door and smelled him. Chapter 2. The Alpha Problem. He was already inside. That's the first thing that hit me. Not the scent, not that heavy tension, just him. Standing right in the middle of the room like this was his place, and I was just passing through. Tall, couldn't ignore it. He wasn't tall the way everyone likes to imagine alphas. Big, imposing, exaggerated. More like everything about him was designed to fit together. Just so. Like someone sketched him out, measured him, and said, yeah, that works. Broad shoulders, perfect posture, completely still. Too still, actually. He turned as soon as the door clicked behind me, and then everything else flooded in. The scent. It didn't knock me over. Honestly, I almost wish it had. It would be easier to brush off, easier to tell myself to snap out of it. But this was worse. It just slipped into the space, like it lived there, wrapping itself around everything. Warm, grounded, solid. Like smoke drifting through old wood with the deep bite of aged whiskey behind it, and something sharp underneath. Clean and almost clinical, just controlled. I barely caught my breath, damn it, number. I shut all that down, reflex, practiced over years, inhale through my mouth, slow exhale, don't let it settle, don't let it in. I stepped all the way in, dropped my bag, didn't spare him a glance. Eric, I introduced myself the way betas do. Straightforward, neutral, no point inviting anything else. Silence. Before...
Blackwood.
His voice sounded lower than I expected. Not gravelly, not gentle, just steady. Like he knew people would listen regardless. It crept across my skin, lighting up nerves I didn't want to acknowledge. I looked up before I could stop myself. Bad move. Eyes dark as night, focused on me, like there was nothing else in the world. Not curious, not bored, not a category I could shove him into, just watching. I dragged my eyes away, but not fast enough to look casual. He clocked it. Of course he did.
Second year?
I nodded. Yeah, tight, on guard.
Same.
I drifted toward my half of the room, putting a desk, the bed, anything I could between us. Didn't help. The room felt like it was shrinking by the second. I could feel him, not moving, but present, an anchor pulling at my attention.
You're early.
I like to settle in before classes start. True enough, but let's be real. That was just as much excuse as anything else. He waited, long enough I felt it.
You don't smell like a beta.
Every muscle in my body locked up, no flinch, not a twitch. I made sure. Just a controlled breath. Nothing more. That's a weird thing to say, I shot back, flat even. Silence stretched. Then he stepped forward, closer. I didn't turn, didn't react. Kept my hands busy unpacking boxes I didn't even care about.
You wear a lot of cologne.
Not a question. A beat thudded hard in my chest. Preference, I shrugged, keeping it short. He took another step. Way too close now. Not touching, but I felt the heat of him, the change in the air. His scent shifted. Something in it sharpened, got clearer. For a second, my eyelids wanted to drift shut. My throat dried out. Instinct crashed through me, hot, sharp, wanting. No. I tamped it down, hard. Does it bother you? I asked, still pretending this was a totally normal conversation. A longer pause this time.
No. But it's interesting.
That word landed between us. Interesting meant he noticed. Notice meant risk. I turned to face him, slow, deliberate, annoyed with myself for how far up I had to look. If he wanted to look, I wasn't backing down. Then don't overthink it, I shot back. Stupid, reckless challenge. I knew it, even as I said it. He almost smiled, just the barest tilt of his lips, like he found the whole thing amusing.
You're telling me what to think?
There it was. Not outright dominance, not exactly. just a pressure at the edge of control. I didn't look away, held the stare, gave him nothing else, just suggesting. He paused, then, finally, he stepped back, just enough. Some of that pressure eased, not gone, but now it felt manageable.
Fine.
Just like that, he let it drop. Or at least, that's what it felt like. I turned away first, this time. Moved to my desk, unpacked whatever was in my hands. Hand steady, breath even. But my thoughts, messy. Definitely not under control. Because he knew. Not what, but that there was something to know. Something enough to notice. Enough to question. Enough to keep watching for. And the worst part, a part of me wanted him to notice. I clenched my jaw, shoved the thought down. This was a problem. Not just because he was an alpha. Not just because he was Alexander Blackwood. But because, for the first time since I presented, my grip on control faltered. And I honestly didn't know how long I could keep pretending. Chapter 3, No Valid Reason. I tried to switch rooms. That first night I barely slept. Nothing happened. That was the problem. Not a sound, not a word. Alexander Blackwood moved around the room like I was invisible. Totally relaxed. No hint of being bothered. He unpacked quietly, piling books with exact care, folding clothes so automatically, it looked like he'd done it his whole life. Like it didn't matter he was sharing space. Like I didn't matter at all. I stuck to my side, kept to my habits, tried not to mess up, did everything the right way. Still, I felt him. Not watching, at least not always, just aware. He filled the room the way his scent did. Low, steady, settling into everything, unavoidable. By morning, I'd had enough. I left early. Way too early, honestly. No real reason, just needed out. I grabbed my bag without a glance his way. Didn't say a word as I stepped into the hall. But I could feel it. His attention, trailing me all the way to the door. The administrative office opened at 8. I showed up at 7:45. There was already a small crowd. Mostly betas, a few alphas, no omegas. I lined up, went over my excuses in my head. Too distracting. Different schedules. Study habits that won't work together. None of it sounded urgent or even believable. And that was a problem too. My turn came. The woman at the desk didn't even look up.
Room change request?
She asked. Yes.
Reason?
That was it. I opened my mouth, hesitated. Because how could I say, my alpha roommate smells like something I can't ignore. My instincts are out of control. If I stay, I'll wreck everything I've worked for. I couldn't. So I settled for, I don't think it's a good fit. That got her attention. She glanced up, expression blank, practiced, unreadable.
Can you elaborate?
No, I couldn't. I prefer a quieter environment. It sounded weak, even to me. She tapped her computer, looked at her screen.
All rooms are assigned randomly. We only do urgent transfers for specific reasons.
I knew that already, but I tried. I understand, but...
Is there a conflict with your roommate?
No. Too fast, too sure. Her look sharpened, but she didn't seem suspicious. Just noting the speed.
Inappropriate behavior?
No. I could feel myself shrinking.
Any safety concerns?
No. It came out so quiet, almost nothing. That was the worst bit. There wasn't a reason. Alexander Blackwood hadn't done a thing wrong. No lines crossed, no rules broken. He just existed. And that was enough to unravel me. I just think I stopped, reset. It would be better academically. She stared for a moment, then back to her screen.
I'm sorry,
She said, tone flat and final.
Without a valid reason, I can't process an urgent change. You can submit a standard request, but it'll take several weeks.
Several weeks. I nodded. 'Cause what else do you do? Thank you. I stepped away. The door shut behind me. That was that. I walked back slow. Not by choice. No rush anymore. Know where I had to be. Classes didn't start till the afternoon. No assignments waiting. No job to fill the time. The campus felt louder, packed. Everything seemed more real, harder to ignore. Like I couldn't vanish the way I used to now that I knew what waited for me. Not something dangerous, not exactly. Something worse, something I couldn't fight. When I got back, the room was unlocked. I slipped in, closed the door, and there he was, at his desk, reading, like he'd never left, or maybe never would. His eyes flicked up as soon as I entered, too quickly to be by chance.
You're back early.
I had something to take care of. He watched me, just enough to let me know he was looking. That almost cocky, half-hidden smirk flirted with his perfect features.
Room change?
My stomach turned. I worked hard not to react. What makes you think that? He paused like he'd weighed his answer.
You don't like variables you can't control.
A simple, clear statement. Not guessing, just knowing, watching. I set my bag down carefully, measuring my movements. Everyone likes stability.
Not everyone tries to fix the problem first thing in the morning.
That edge in his voice, sharp but not aggressive, just honest. And I faced him. His gaze stayed steady. Didn't press, didn't soften, just stayed.
And it didn't work.
I tightened my jaw. No valid reason, I blurted before I could stop myself. Why was I explaining myself? Why did he need to know? His face shifted just a bit. Something close to understanding. That made it worse.
Right.
He finally accepted, turning back to his books. Silence settled again, heavier now. Then, over his shoulder,
If it helps, I'm not planning to make this difficult.
my chest pulled tight, because he wasn't. That was the problem. He didn't even have to try. I don't need help, I scoffed. I caught the small smile at his mouth's edge.
I didn't think you did.
He knew everything. Or at least, it felt that way. I grabbed a couple things, ducked into the bathroom, needing space to breathe. It wasn't just losing control, it was losing the illusion of it. That feeling you're running the show, even if you aren't. I had to clear my head, force myself to focus. Because now it wasn't just about being stuck in a room with Alexander Blackwood. I was trapped in a situation with no fix, and for the first time since I arrived, I had no idea how to win. Living with Alexander Blackwood wasn't difficult. That was the problem. If he'd been loud or careless, if he'd been the kind of roommate who left trash everywhere, barged in at all hours, or gave me a real reason for this tightness in my chest, well, I could have dealt with it. That's straightforward. You file a complaint, ask to be moved, put some distance there, and get on with your life. But Alexander Blackwood wasn't like that. Living with him was easy. He got up early every morning. Not as early as I did, but early enough so I was never alone for long. He moved around quietly, always in control. The guy kept the place tidy, never left a mess or made it feel like I was just there to tolerate his chaos. He had this rhythm I learned to expect. Alarm, shower, coffee. Black, of course. Never any sugar. I found all that out without even having to ask him. I was just paying attention, like I always do. He folded his clothes the exact same way each time. His books, stacked neatly in perfect lines. Nothing ever cluttered his desk unless he was using it that minute. No mess, no loose ends. You'd think that would help, right? That maybe with someone so neat and predictable, I could relax. Let my guard down just a little. Didn't work out like that. Instead, it meant I had nothing to focus on except him. With everything else stripped away, all the petty annoyances I might fixate on, I was left with Alexander himself. Every little thing he did I noticed. So I adapted. Woke up even earlier, stayed out later, tried to cut down how much we were in the room together. Less time, less overlap. Safer. Or so I told myself. Worked for a while, until I started catching the empty spaces where our routines still overlapped, like the way he drank coffee while I packed up to leave, or those silent shared hours when we sat and studied. I even felt when he shifted in his chair like the air around us would rearrange itself just because he moved, even when I did my best not to look. Even worse was the scent, or his scent. Always faint, never too much, but always there. Addictive, somehow. It lingered in the sheets, settled in the corners, pressed in close whenever I needed to just breathe. I refreshed my blockers until my head ached, used more cologne, tried to subdue myself, push it all down beneath routine and discipline. Useless. My body had already noticed him, and it wasn't letting go. Campus was even worse, because outside the room, he wasn't just some guy I lived with. He was Alexander Blackwood. You could see the difference the moment he walked in anywhere. People snapped to attention, conversations dropped off, eyes found their way to him. He didn't make a show of it, didn't demand to be seen. He just was. Our classes already overlapped more than I'd have liked. Same year, same major, same professors, same everything. I always sat near the back, not to hide, just I'd always preferred it. He didn't sit up front like someone who craves attention. He picked the middle rows, somewhere with a clear line of sight to everything happening, always looking for control. Professors automatically called on him, not because he sucked up or anything, but because he always had the answer. Calm, clear, never too much, always precise, never showing off, never overdoing it, just enough every time. And I hated that. Not him exactly. I wanted it to be about him, but really, it was what he stood for. How easily he seemed to fit into everything I had to fight for.
You're staring again.
I blinked and dragged myself back from my thoughts. Stopped looking at the front of the room. I'm not, I denied firmly. Lena snorted from beside me.
You are?
Lena Park, Beta, second year. The only one I sat with by choice. Not because we were alike. Honestly, we weren't. She was loud where I was quiet, blunt where I was careful, social in a way that never seemed to cost her anything. And she hated alphas. Not all of them. Just the ones who walked around like they owned the place, which, let's be honest, was most of them.
Blackwood's going to wreck the curve,
she muttered, flipping her pen. He probably already has. She shot me a look, smirked.
At least you're honest about it.
I shrugged and kept my voice blank. He's good.
That's one way to put it. I'd call him insufferable.
I didn't answer, but that wasn't quite it. I didn't think he was insufferable, and honestly, that almost felt worse.
Also,
she added, leaning in so her voice just barely dropped.
Half the class is obsessed with him.
I didn't need to look around to know she was right. You could feel all that attention. The way people angled themselves toward him, waited for him to join the conversation, hung on his every answer. Not surprising, I shrugged.
Please.
Lina rolled her eyes.
It's the alpha thing. They eat it up.
Couldn't argue with that. Alphas led. The rest follow. That's just how it works. She shot me that sideways look.
Don't tell me you're into that.
Her pen jabbed the air in Alexander's direction like he was something foul. My stomach twisted. I'm not. That at least wasn't entirely a lie. Lecture ended. Chairs scraped. Voices rose. People shuffled out. I stayed sitting a little longer, letting the room clear out, holding on to routine. Until...
You're avoiding me.
My whole body went rigid. I knew who it was without turning around. Could feel him behind me. Closer than he ought to be. Way too close for anything that could be passed off as normal. I'm not... Yeah, sure, that made it true. I stood, grabbed my things, finally turned around, and there he was, right in front of me. I could smell it again. His scent, not overwhelming, just insistent. And his eyes on mine. Steady, unreadable.
You leave early.
Simple observation. You stay late, I answered. A pause. Then...
Not always.
Something in the way he said it shifted, like he was matching me, step for step. My chest tightened. He noticed me, noticed my habits, and now he was changing his. I have things to do, I tried.
So do I.
Measured, careful. I moved past, careful not to react, not to touch. But as I did, I felt it, the way the air changed. A fraction of his attention drifting after me. Not enough for anyone else to catch. Enough for me. Enough to set off every instinct I trained myself to ignore, leaving me practically vibrating as I walked out. Lena trailed after, sharp curiosity all over her face. I didn't slow down, didn't look back, but it followed me, that feeling. All the way downstairs, past the cafeteria, out into the court, so I couldn't shake it. Alexander Blackwood wasn't just aware of me, he was adjusting to me. I didn't know what that meant yet. only that it couldn't be good, 'cause the distance between us was shrinking, and it wasn't me closing the gap,
Okay,
Lena said, suddenly slow and careful. I didn't look up. I could hear something had changed in her voice. Okay, what? I asked as we stepped outside into the chilled spring air.
that.
She said. I hiked my bag up and kept moving towards the library. She stayed at my side, keeping pace. You don't get to that me with no context, I said.
Oh, I think I do. Especially since I just saw Alexander Blackwood all but corner you after class.
He didn't corner me.
Sure, he just happened to be blocking the exact door you needed, and happened to lean in like he was about to say something no one else was supposed to hear.
No point answering. She wasn't wrong.
And you?
She glanced at me.
Looked like you were about to punch him or run.
I wasn't. I lied. Lena hummed, thoughtful.
Interesting.
I stopped, turned to face her. What is? She watched me for a beat too long, not intrusive, just studying.
You don't react to people.
My gut tensed up. That's not true.
It is.
She shrugged.
You put up with them, sort them out, decide if they're worth your time.
Her gaze didn't move.
Nothing gets through to you.
I tried to play it off. Maybe I just don't like him. She laughed.
Join the club.
But she didn't let it go. Lena never lets things go unless she's satisfied. And right then, she definitely wasn't. We started walking again.
So, is it because he's your roommate?
My pulse jumped. How do you know that? She raised an eyebrow.
Please, housing lists are public. Everyone's talking.
Of course. Would be all over campus by now. Yeah. He is.
And?
And what?
And you didn't think to mention that you're living with the most obnoxious alpha in our year?
I breathed out, slow. Didn't seem relevant. She stopped, made me turn.
That
She said,
is exactly what I mean.
What?
You don't hide things. You just put them out in the open, let them be facts, and somehow that's worse.
She studied me.
You're off lately, more tense, leaving earlier, checking your phone like you're timing something.
Didn't even know I was doing it. Realizing that made me even more uneasy. It's the start of the semester. Everyone's still settling, I claimed. She shook her head.
Not like this. It's him, isn't it?
She said it softly, and for once it wasn't judgment, just concern. And that's so much harder to dodge. I just don't want distractions. Not true, but close. She eyed me for a moment, then nodded.
Yeah, that tracks.
Relief came sharp and quick.
You've always been like that. Head down, focused, drama-free.
I nodded. That's what she saw. That's who I had to be,
But
she said as we started moving.
if he starts anything,
He won't. Too fast, but I couldn't help it. She gave me a skeptical look.
you don't know that.
I do, because he didn't have to. Lean aside.
Fine, but if he does, I'm not letting some legacy alpha mess with my study partner.
Something inside me shifted. Not fear, nothing sharp. Just something warm and a bit surprising. You don't have to worry about me,
I always worry about you.
she said, like it was obvious. We split at the next building.
Lunch later?
She called, maybe.
That's not an answer.
I'll text you. She rolled her eyes.
Yeah, you will.
I watched her go, then turned the other way, toward the dorms. It was quieter now, afternoon hush, barely anyone around, easier to think, harder in every other way. I opened the room door and froze just inside, because he was there at his desk, same as always, like he'd never left, or like he'd been waiting. His eyes lifted to meet mine, too quick, always far too quick.
You're late.
My hand clenched tighter on the door handle. Didn't know I was on a schedule.
You weren't. Until you created one.
My chest clenched. He was right again. I stepped all the way in and closed the door behind me. And for the first time, the room didn't feel neutral or shared. It felt occupied. Like the empty space between us was filling up, crowded with something I didn't have the words for and couldn't control, no matter how much I fought to pretend otherwise. And the worst thing was, even Lena had started to notice. Chapter 4. The Things You Can Hide. The first mistake I made was thinking I actually had him figured out. I convinced myself he was nothing more than a pattern. Wake up early, move quietly, keep his distance. Predictable. Easy enough to handle. Felt safe. Or I thought it did. Turns out I was so wrong. The moment I opened my eyes, I knew it. He was still there, but that wasn't the strange thing, not by itself at least. No, the thing that made something in me jolt was where he was. He wasn't at his desk, he was closer. At the tiny table that split our room in two. Coffee in hand, clothes on, eyes already on me, like he'd been waiting. I felt the pressure before I was fully awake. That thick, pressed-in awareness, like I'd been thrown into a conversation I wasn't ready for.
You're later than usual.
My throat was painfully dry. I propped myself up, slow and careful, trying not to show anything. I changed my schedule. Oh, I explained. Total lie. He sipped his coffee with a hum, eyes never leaving me. That quiet sound, heavy, thoughtful. It made my spine go cold in a way I didn't want. He didn't believe me, didn't even bother pretending he did. I got up, stretched, grabbed my bag, checked my phone, and stuffed some clothes under my arm. Shower. That was the routine. Normal, familiar. I could do normal. I moved quietly, trying not to break pattern, even with him right there. I slathered on fresh scent blockers, downed 2 suppressant pills. Lana had given me something as a joke, the alpha man, some cologne that reeked of sandalwood and sage. Came back out expecting him to be gone? Nope. He was still there. Same spot, still clutching that cup. I rushed to gather my things and turned toward the door, and stopped. He moved before I did. Not fast or threatening, just intentional. One measured step, and suddenly he stood between me and my exit. Not blocking me exactly, but close. So close I couldn't ignore it.
Do you always head out so early?
He asked, nodding at my wet hair.
Or is that new?
My pulse hammered. I tried, really tried, not to react. It depends, I answered.
On what?
I made myself meet his gaze, forced it. On what I have to do. He paused like he wanted to taste the answer.
And what do you need to do?
Voice so quiet it barely carried. That wasn't casual. It was sharp, pointed. Class, I breathed out.
So do I.
And then he leaned in. Not aggressive. Not really, but close. His scent changed, like he'd been holding it back until now. My lungs stuttered, chest suddenly tight. My body snapped to alert. I had to get past him. He didn't move, didn't touch me. But that space, too small. His scent, sharp, all at once, like a wave in my face. My control wobbled. I walked forward, shoulders brushing his arm. That was mistake number 2. Just a brush, but my body, traitor that it was, reacted. Immediate, hot, deep, wrong. I bit down on a gasp, inhaling too fast. For a split second, my hold on everything slipped. I felt it, the tiny shift. The blocker stretching thin. My own scent bleeding through. Amber and sweet and dangerous if you knew what to notice. I tried to contain it. Not enough to be obvious, but enough for him. He stopped too, just a tick, like his body caught the exact moment. His eyes sharpened, breath deeper. Not surprise, focus. He felt it. Silence stretched between us.
Interesting.
He remarked, just that. My chest locked. It's the cologne, I lied.
No.
He said, not even blinking. I made my face go blank. You're overthinking this. He tilted his head, studying me, clinical.
If I was, you wouldn't be reacting like that.
My stomach just about fell out. I'm not. I retorted, another error. His gaze flicked to my hands, still as stone, rigid, and back to me. You are. It wasn't scolding or aggressive, just true. I gritted my teeth. Move, I ordered. He stepped aside, barely, but it was enough. I could breathe again, sharp and fast. I didn't hesitate. Out the door, into the hallway. Didn't stop walking. Halfway down the corridor, my hand started trembling, not with fear, something worse, recognition. Because that response my body betrayed wasn't purely instinct anymore, it was a reaction. And the most disturbing part? He hadn't forced it. My body volunteered, demanded. I got through my classes, Went through the day. When I came back that afternoon, Alexander was at his desk like nothing happened, like the morning hadn't happened at all.
Your schedule's inconsistent.
He threw out, not even looking up. Tightness in my chest. I told you.
You did.
He looked at me finally, and that same intense, almost clinical focus pinned me.
If you're gonna lie, Eric, you should pick one your body agrees with.
I went ice still, because he knew. Maybe not everything, but enough. He wasn't guessing. He was pushing, watching for cracks. I didn't know how much longer I could keep passing his tests. The weekends were supposed to help. Alexander Blackwood left early before dawn. No warnings, no comments. Just gone. The air changed. Silence in the room. The first real quiet since he moved in. For a minute, I just stood there, waiting for something else to fill the void. Nothing did. Silence settled. Dense. Heavy. Carrying leftover residue from before. I exhaled slow. Space. I needed that. Opened the window, changed the bedding, wiped everything down, reapplied scent blockers like a ritual I couldn't skip. Routine. Change the environment, fix the variables, erase the problem. By noon, I should have been fine. But I wasn't. I sat at my desk, books open, notes everywhere, reading the same line over and over. Couldn't focus. My mind wouldn't grab holds, because the room still smelled like him. Not strong, just barely there, but real. Tangled into the fabric, the walls, deep in the space. I pressed my fingers to my temple, forced my eyes down. Told myself it was nothing, just adjusting. Proximity would wear off. I sipped coffee. It tasted flat, wrong. Like something was missing, and I could name exactly what. Chest went tight. That's not normal. Set the cup down, sharper than I meant. Tried to focus, body rebelling. The warning came low and slow. Heat, inside, deeper than the room, unsettling. Like a fever just starting. I shifted in the chair, waited for it to pass. It didn't. In fact, it only grew. Sharper. My calm cracked. No way, way too soon. I checked my calendar. Nowhere close. Shouldn't be possible. I'd taken all my suppressants. This wasn't how failure looked unless something had triggered it. My thoughts snapped right to him. Shut that down instantly. Not possible, not me. But my body didn't care, didn't listen. Heat built under my skin, something relentless, burning close to the bone. Not enough to knock me flat, but enough to blur the line between me and control. I stood up too quick. The room spun just a little. Braced on the desk, breathed shallow, counting like it would steady me. This was manageable. It had to be. I splashed cold water on my face, clung to the edging of the sink, waited. It helped, marginally. But underneath, something bigger grew. A pull, not just body, recognition, a kind of longing I didn't want to own. Hands tight on the countertop. This wasn't all chemical. This was response to him, even without him here. The realization hit way harder than it should have. Distance wasn't helping. Space didn't stop it. All these ways I rebuilt my routine didn't mean anything now. I forced myself back to the desk, tried again, couldn't. Memory ate my focus. The way he looked at me, voice dropping low, attention hyper-focused. The way he saw through me. I shook it off, hard. I didn't want any of those thoughts. This wasn't about him. Just biology reacting under a little pressure. That had to be it. Even telling myself that, though, I found my gaze drifting to his half of the room, where his things were, and my chest tightened. I drew in another breath, subconsciously wanting to catch leftovers of his scent. The emptiness didn't feel clean or free. It felt wrong. I froze. No, I couldn't afford that thought. I grabbed a fistful of suppressants, shoved them down, and took my jacket. Time to get actual air, something solid. Distance. Because suddenly, the room alone felt more dangerous than standing toe-to-toe with Alexander, and I genuinely had no idea how to keep myself together. Outside, cold air hit my face, sharp as a slap. Exactly what I needed. Walked faster than my lungs liked, not checking where I was headed, until I ended up on Lena's doorstep, her bar, sanctuary. Inside, the smells were ordinary. Alcohol, citrus, grease from the kitchen, familiar, safe. I let out a shaky exhale. Relief.
Eric?
Lena was behind the bar, hair tied back, sleeves pushed up, watching me like she was looking for something hidden.
You look like crap.
I just blinked at her. Thanks. She didn't smile. Not her usual. She always smiled when I walked in. Must be bad,
Sit down.
she ordered, nodding at the bar. I hesitated but obeyed. The stool wobbled under me. I couldn't tell if it was me or it. She set a glass of water in front of me.
Drink.
I'm good.
Drink.
I didn't argue, didn't have the energy. She leaned on the counter, arms folded, eyes slicing right through what little armor I had left.
You didn't answer my text.
I was studying. She let that slide, could see she knew it was a lie.
You're sweating.
I stilled. No, I'm not.
You are.
Instinctively, I wiped my neck and cursed myself. Her eyes narrowed.
Okay.
She said, slow as a circling hawk.
Tell me what's going on.
Nothing.
Eric.
Not accusing. Just worried. That one stung. I'm just tired.
From what?
I couldn't answer. There wasn't a real one to give. Heat still pulsed under my skin. It wasn't overwhelming, thanks triple dose of suppressants, but it lingered, humming in my chest. Wrong, too soon, way too reactive. Lena moved closer, not the way he did, but enough to set me on edge. My breath hitched. She noticed, sharp and quick.
There it is.
My stomach dropped. What?
That reaction.
She insisted. I made myself go still, fake normal breathing. You're seeing things.
No,
She shook her head.
you're off.
The words hung there, heavy. Stress, I said. It's just stress.
Stress doesn't make you flinch when people get close.
I didn't flinch.
You did.
Her tone gentled.
Eric, you never do that.
The silence got thick and awkward. She eased in even closer. Not enough for anyone else to notice, but enough for me. My control slipped, a crack in the dam. My scent started bleeding around the edges, delicate but real, surfacing past blockers. No. Lena couldn't pick up details. A beta wouldn't, but apparently some people did. Heads now angling my way, sniffing for origins. Lena tracked them, her mood changing fast.
What?
She started. I shot up too fast. The stool screeched across the floor. People looked, too many. Suddenly I was on display. I need air, I blurted. She didn't let me go with just that.
Eric?
I'm fine, I repeated, shaky. I just need... But the lie caught in my throat. She saw it. Her eyes changed as something clicked. She finally connected dots I didn't want her to.
I'm coming with you.
She decided. No. Too sharp, too desperate. I said I'm fine. A pause. She just said, quiet and certain.
Yeah, you're not.
God, that nearly broke me. Because she wasn't wrong, and she was really, truly seeing it now. I put space between us. I needed distance. I'll text you, I promised. She didn't smile, didn't crack a joke, didn't push. Just watched, calm, attentive, worried. She wasn't suspicious anymore. Now she was actively looking for the things I was trying to hide. I left, pushing out into the cold. Even out here, with air so sharp it made my nose sting, nothing settled. The heat didn't leave. The pull was there, humming. And underneath, the only thought pounding through me, this was him, even when he wasn't around. I cursed his name all the way back to my dorm. Didn't matter how far I ran, my body was already set to his. Chapter 5, The Return. I made it back to the dorm, but just barely. I thought the walk would help. You know, cold air, moving, giving myself some space, maybe clear my head. But it didn't. If anything, the cold just made everything more raw, sharper, like scraping a nerve instead of soothing it. The heat under my skin didn't go away. Felt like it just kept building, seeping down, getting deeper. Not enough to send me over the edge, not enough to overwhelm me, but enough to stay there, burning quietly. Wrong. All of it felt wrong. I took the stairs too fast, missed a step, nearly ate it, but caught myself on the railing. My hand shook. No. I couldn't let that happen. I gripped the rail tighter, forced it still, reached for control, held on. I could still do that at least. Control was mine. By the time I got to the door, I'd stitched myself back together, or close enough. My breathing went steady, my posture relaxed, my face blank. That had to be good enough. It was all I had. I opened the door. The whole world tilted. He was back. I didn't see him immediately. I felt it first. The scent hit me before anything else. Instant and overwhelming. Clean, new showered, sharp, as if I'd stepped right into the scent like it was something you could swim in. Like my body had been holding its breath, waiting for this, and now didn't know how to stop. My breath caught. Too sharp, too fast. I just froze in the doorway. Alexander stood by his desk, jacket off, sleeves rolled. A towel hung around his neck, water dripping from his hair along his jaw. Down. No, don't think about it. He looked straight at me. And for a second, I had no idea what I was supposed to do about that because he didn't look even a little surprised. He just looked like he expected me to be there.
"You're back,"
he said. His voice was low, calm, controlled, way too calm. I tried to answer. Nothing came out. That scent, God, it only got stronger. Not because he'd lost his grip, but because I had. My body flared up. The heat inside spiked. My fingers twitched at my side. My vision blurred a little. No. I stepped back, a single step, pretending that would fix this. Nothing changed.
"You left early,"
he said, still watching, still focused in that direct, too intense way. I had something to do, I managed. My voice sounded thin, strained. He noticed. Of course he did. Then he moved. A single step. That was all it took for the room to clamp down on me. My lungs stuttered. My chest squeezed tight. Too close. Too much. I had to grab the edge of the door to keep myself upright.
"You don't look okay,"
he remarked. I'm fine. Lie. Obvious and weak. He stepped closer. My body reacted before my mind did. A sharp, tugging pull low in my gut. My knees almost gave. I barely kept from collapsing. And that, the way he looked at me then, the shift in his face, he knew. Not surprise, not confusion. Recognition. He saw right through it.
"Eric."
My name sounded different, lower, softer, almost, God, I didn't want to think about how it sounded. Too close, needing more somehow. I shook my head, tried, I'm fine, again, another lie. My hand slipped against the door. The world lurched again, harder. The heat surged. Not under control anymore. A crack down the middle. My scent, spiked, wild, full-bodied for a heartbeat. Warm amber and golden apples. I watched his breath change. Deeper. Harder. Something in him locked onto me. I saw it happen. I pushed off the door, tried to get around him. Didn't make it. The room buckled, and this time, I didn't catch myself. Everything dropped out from under me, and then suddenly I was warm. Solid. His hand caught my arm, steady, controlled, holding me upright. I froze. This was the first real time he touched me, the first real touch. And my body answered instantly. No filter, none at all. My breath caught, sharp and loud. Too much, all at once. I gripped at his sleeve.
"Easy,"
he said, voice low, close to my ear. Not a command, he was grounding me. That was somehow worse because I leaned into it without thinking. I grabbed his arm. That was the moment everything changed. Silence. It felt heavy, loaded. My breathing was shaky. His wasn't. He stayed calm, but deeper, drawing me in.
"You're not a beta."
He didn't ask. He just said it, soft and final. Everything in me went still. This wasn't a test. He wasn't guessing. He knew. I kept breathing him in, stuck in his space, my own scent rising and answering his. Slick soaked my underwear and I couldn't even think straight. My body kept moving without my say-so, my grip on his arm tightening. Wrong. All of this was wrong, but I couldn't let go. The room steadied, in a way, but the heat burned deeper, sharper.
"Eric."
My name again, rougher, closer. I shouldn't have leaned into him, but I did. My shoulder pressed against him just enough that it was unmistakable, a mistake. The second I did, my breath stuttered, and I heard myself whimper. Quiet, almost nothing, but there. The sound an omega makes, a sound I'd heard 1,000 times from my father, but never expected from myself. I felt the shift in me, that instinct to move closer, to give in. I hated it. I forced a breath, tried to step away, but didn't get far. His hand gripped my arm, not to stop me, just holding steady.
Don't.
He said softly. It wasn't a command, just calm and certain. It hurt worse than if he'd been angry. It felt like a decision already made, something I had no say in. My breathing sped up, too uneven. I'm fine, I said, but the words fell apart. My body betrayed me over and over. I couldn't stop the small shifts toward him, the way my scent flooded the air, the way my skin prickled with each moment too close. I froze again. No, I wasn't. I tried to straighten, force myself away. This time he let me go, his hand falling from my arm. That loss was colder, sharper than his touch. My balance wobbled again, but I caught the edge of the desk. Cold, hard, not him. That's what I tried to focus on, but the space between us wasn't empty. It was electric, thick with something I couldn't name or fight down.
You should sit,
he said, still calm, still holding himself back, but there was a thin edge to it now, a tension I couldn't place. He stared at me like I was a puzzle he had to solve. I don't need, my voice broke, just a bit. Enough for him to hear it, enough that I hated myself for it. He paused, then,
You're early,
he said. It took me a second to realize what he meant. My stomach turned. Number.
You're reacting early.
He added, gentle but absolute. Not a question, a fact. My fingers dug into the desk. You don't know what you're talking about. We both knew that was a lie. He didn't look away.
I do,
He said, simple and sure. The silence between us stretched out. I could hear every ragged breath, feel my heart pounding.
If I say it out loud,
He continued.
does it make it worse?
My chest tightened.
Yes.
I answered before I could help it, and I knew right away I shouldn't have. Something shifted in his face, not pleased, but understanding.
Then I won't.
And that surprised me. He had every chance to use this against me, every reason to press his advantage, but he didn't. Why? I couldn't think. I forced myself upright, step by step, putting space between us, slow, wobbly, but determined. I choked out, space, distance, air, anything.
I know,
He said, too fast, like he already knew the shape of this. That shouldn't have helped, but it did. I swallowed hard, fighting the truth that pressed into my bones, that all this time, shaking, falling apart, doing everything I could to force control, the only thing that had actually grounded me was him. And I had no idea what to do with that. I'm going to take a shower, I said finally. Weak excuse, but it gave me a way out. A little space. He watched as I moved.
Eric,
I stopped, not looking back.
take your suppressants.
That. My chest clenched. He knew too much. I answered.
I know.
He said. That was even worse. Because if he knew I'd taken them, he knew this wasn't normal. That this was out of my control. That it was me breaking. I didn't say anything more, just went straight to the bathroom and locked the door behind me. As soon as I was alone, I braced both hands on the sink, head down, chest heaving. Because the second I was out of his orbit, the world spun harder. My body knew what it wanted, and distance wasn't it. And that was the dangerous part. Chapter 6, Terms. The water didn't help. It should have. It was ice cold, stinging my skin, sharp enough to ground me, to pull me out of the haze. But really, it made everything worse. The moment it touched me, my whole body woke up. Hyper-aware, overly sensitive. I pressed a hand against the tile, dropped my head forward, and tried to catch my breath. It came in broken bursts, like my own body was betraying me. This wasn't just the usual timing, it was different. This was triggered. I'd gone full-blown into heat. The ache inside was so sharp it twisted me up, left me empty in a way that hurt to my core. I curled up in a heap on the floor, knees pulled tight to my chest, water still pounding down over me. Slick kept coming, wave after wave. The whole bathroom smelled like amber, agarwood, and apples, like spa candles gone wild. Sweet, thick, impossible to ignore. My mind was hazy, swamped by need. Most Omegas would be begging by now, pleading to be filled, to be bred, crying out for their alpha to come claim them, mark them, do what's natural. I bit down on my lip until it bled, refusing to make a sound. Only a few strained whimpers slipped out, swallowed by the sound of the shower. I knew exactly what this meant. My father never hid how it had worked for him with my dad, never left me unprepared. This was his fault too. It took hours before I finally shut off the water, wrenching the knob harder than needed. I grabbed a towel and forced myself to focus on anything, on control. By the time I stepped out, I'd managed to fake it. Some piece of me pieced back together, all surface and nothing underneath. He was still there. This time, he sat at the edge of his bed, not reading, not busy, just waiting. For me. His eyes were dark, body wound tight, knuckles white, hands clenched in front of him. My stomach twisted up inside me. "You're still here." I sounded sharper than I meant. He looked up, steady as ever.
You took longer than I thought.
No defense in it. He wasn't on edge. Just stating facts. He always noticed things that way. I made my way to my side of the room, keeping as much distance as I could. Took forever drying my hair, slow just to give myself time. I already knew what was coming.
You should sit.
I'm fine.
No,
Simple, certain.
you're not.
I turned all the way, finally met his gaze, then say it. My voice came out like a dare. I regretted it the second I heard myself. Something changed in him. Not something you could see, just deeper.
You're early.
There it was, out loud, no taking it back. My chest went tight. You don't know that.
I do.
His voice stayed level, so calm, he didn't need to prove a thing. The silence stretched between us, impossible to avoid. "I take suppressants," I said, the words scraping on their way out.
I know.
Again that steady certainty. "I use blockers."
I know.
My jaw clenched. "So you know this shouldn't be happening." A beat. Then he said,
It shouldn't be happening like this.
The ground dropped out from under me. Not denial, correction. "What does that mean?" He didn't answer right away. Just looked at me, weighing everything.
You're reacting to a trigger.
My heart skipped. I'm not.
You are.
Not angry, not pushing, just right. I curled my hands into fists. Then say it, what's the trigger? A pause.
You already know.
The world seemed to stop, because I did know. I just didn't want to admit it. You, my voice, had barely any sound at all. He didn't move, didn't deny it.
Yes?
That one word changed everything again. That's not how this works. My voice sounded so weak, small and unsure, like a complaint with no real fight in it.
It can be.
I shook my head. No. If that was true, then all this effort, all this control I'd worked so hard for, it was already gone.
You're not losing control.
My chest ached. I am.
You're reacting.
He said, another correction, but this one mattered.
There's a difference.
I huffed out a sharp breath, then explain it. He stood up, careful, deliberate, and when he took a step toward me, I didn't back away. Not because I decided to stand my ground, but because my legs didn't trust me anymore. I was still in heat, still hurting, just a little less, and it was quieter now, for the moment.
Losing control,
He said softly.
is letting instinct erase your choices.
Another step.
Reaction means your body's sounding the alarm before you decide what to do.
Suddenly, too close. My breath hitched.
There's a difference.
He reminded me. I swallowed hard because he was right and I hated it.
You're still choosing.
He said, was I? It didn't feel like it. My body leaned toward him, so slight I almost missed it, but I caught myself. So did he. I started, but stopped. I had no idea what I was denying anymore.
You don't have to say it.
He told me, that restraint again, warm and maddening. Stop doing that, I snapped. His eyebrows moved a little.
Doing what?
Acting like you understand.
I do.
He said it too quickly, too sure. You don't. My voice cracked. You're not. I clamped my mouth shut. Too late. His gaze sharpened.
Not what?
Silence settled. I couldn't say it, not like this. Not in my position. I managed. A pause lingered.
No. But I understand control.
That he did. He wore it like armor. You don't get to, I started, then let the words fizzle out. I didn't even know what I was fighting about anymore.
You can't leave right now.
He said suddenly. My head snapped up. What?
You're not stable.
He said. I'm fine.
No.
There it was again, that complicated certainty.
I'm not stopping you.
He added after a beat.
But if you leave like this, someone else will notice.
My stomach nodded. Lena, the bar, the way people had looked at me, my control slipping out there with everyone watching. Damn it. You don't get to make my decisions, I shot back.
I'm not.
He said, stepping closer.
I'm giving you information.
It stung. Because this wasn't control, it was just choice. And all the options sucked. So I asked, what do you want? The tone shifted, power balanced on a wire. He didn't even blink.
Nothing.
I didn't buy it. Then why are you helping? He waited, thinking it through.
Because you asked me to.
I froze. I didn't.
You told me to say it.
Right. That. My own words, thrown back at me.
And now you have it.
Silence got thick again, heavier than before. So what now? I asked, quieter, more honest. All that fake control finally dropped.
We set terms.
He said. My chest squeezed. Terms. Not about dominance, not about giving in, just structure. For what? I asked.
For this?
He motioned at the space between us, the tension, the raw chemistry that I couldn't hide. All of it. My pulse picked up. My scent rose, slick coming back, stronger. My body called out for something, anything, that would fix this feeling. And if I say no,
then you handle it alone.
We both already knew how that would end. I breathed out slow, because this wasn't about victory or pride now. It was just about figuring out how to survive. Fine. The word landed with more weight than it should have. He echoed it back.
Fine.
Just like that, everything shifted. That night, he left again and let me have space while the heat rolled through me. But this time I had my own bed. Blankets and pillows, comfort close by, water on the nightstand, snacks I could actually reach. He let me have what I needed, didn't hover, didn't force a thing. As that third wave reached its peak, I saw he'd left his old jacket draped over the windowsill, drenched in his scent, close enough to grab. I pressed my face into it, desperate for a way through the next impossible crest of want. Not that I'd ever admit it. I'd wash it twice before he saw. Chapter 7. Within reach. 3 days. That's usually how long my heats last. 3 blurry days that melt together. My mind caught in this wild loop between desperate need and this deep, biting humiliation. 4 years, 6 times a year. It's enough to get used to the rhythms, at least in theory. But no matter how prepared I am, they always wring me out. Leave me hollow, floating in a kind of daze that lingers even after the sharp edge is gone. By the end, I'm wiped. I slept when I could, curled up in a nest that quickly turned into chaos. Funny thing, most of the mess I'd built around myself wasn't even mine. Clothes everywhere, none of them mine, which explained why I was now planted on the laundry room floor, looking like someone who just scraped past finals week. I couldn't get my body to move quite right, heavy limbs dry as dust throat. My head hurt, but at least I could think, if only a little. And when I did, when I let myself remember, I thought of that jacket, how it felt, how I draped myself in it, almost begging, biting down on it at the peak, needy, in ways I won't admit out loud. I had to tear my gaze away from the dryer, wondering if it was tumbling around with another shirt of his, maybe that towel. Instead, I closed my eyes, tried not to dissect it all, but there the jacket was, draped over the windowsill, not a mistake, placed there on purpose, close enough to see, close enough to reach. He'd made sure I had space but stayed near, never quite out of sight. The dryer buzzed. I sighed, pulled my sheets from the bed, dumped his in another machine. Maybe if I did all the laundry, everything, even his, he'd overlook the mess. Maybe it would look thoughtful, not desperate. Who does laundry at 3 a.m.? Only someone trying not to think. It was still early when I finished, 5 in the morning, just the runners out on the street. I tossed the fresh sheets onto his bed a little harder than I needed to. That distance wasn't an accident. It was the whole point. The door opened right then. He was back.
Morning.
His voice slipped into the room, just normal, calm, like nothing in the world had shifted. I didn't turn right away, gave myself a second, steadied my breathing, started folding clothes. Morning, I answered. Neutral, flat. A lie, because everything had changed. I felt it. In the air, in the way the space between us seemed to pulse, in the way my body snapped to attention soon as he entered, every nerve alert.
You look better.
He said, just a simple statement. I am. Another lie.
Did you sleep?
Pause, just a second. A bit, I said, which wasn't untrue. His eyes flicked, sharp, deliberate, taking me in, a nod.
Good.
That was all. No questions, no judgment. And that did something for me. Helped, in its own way. I moved to my desk, grabbed a book and flipped it open, pretending to read. But of course I didn't. I could feel him still, in the room, just present, not moving closer, not pushing. He started sorting through the pile of laundry I'd abandoned. No comment, no complaints. The distance didn't feel like punishment or withdrawal. It was more intentional than that.
You should eat.
He said after a while. I blinked, looked up. He was by my desk now, laying down a plain cafe breakfast sandwich and fruit tart. Nothing fancy, just food. I stared at it, then at him. You didn't have to.
I know.
That steady way of his.
It helps.
He told me. Not a command, not advice, just a fact. I hovered, then reached for the bag. Another shift, one more careful step across an invisible line. I started slow, picking at the sandwich, testing how my stomach would handle it. I was surprised. My body wasn't ready to riot, at least not right away. Wasn't perfect, just better. He watched.
Better?
He asked. I nodded once. Yes.
Good.
The silence settled in again, but it had changed. No longer tense or suffocating. Just there, a presence in the room. You said terms, I said, finally breaking the quiet. I looked up to meet his gaze.
I did.
What are they? My chest seized a little. Proximity? I asked. Defined. I stopped moving, bracing myself.
We don't pretend it's not happening.
He said, voice steady, too honest.
But we don't let it run wild.
There it was, the line we shouldn't cross. My heart hammered. And if it does? He met my eyes, unflinching.
It won't.
The certainty should have annoyed me, but instead it anchored me. You're pretty sure, my voice unsure.
I am. And you trust that.
Another pause hung between us. I didn't respond immediately. Trust wasn't quite it, but the structure, the control, that I could work with. I trust that you won't lose control, I finally said.
You shouldn't.
He replied. My chest clenched. Why? He didn't look away, didn't sugarcoat it.
Because I don't want to.
It startled me, all that honesty. Not some animal urge, but a choice. That made it more dangerous, not less. The silence that followed felt like standing on a ledge, something sharp and tempting at my back. This wasn't something being done to me. It was something we were choosing, managing, together. and I had no idea whether that made it safer or more frightening. I didn't text Lena. I thought about it more than once, actually. I opened up the chat, typed a message, deleted it again and again. There was nothing I could say to her that wouldn't spark 1,000 questions. None I could answer. 3 days. That's how long it'd been since I left the bar, since I wasn't going there. I closed that door in my head. Still, the silence only made things worse.
You're an idiot.
I froze, obviously. Lena never waited for answers. She came to collect them. She appeared at the end of the hall, posture rigid, expression set. She wasn't smiling.
You've been avoiding me.
She said, not a question. I haven't, I lied. She didn't flinch.
You disappeared for 3 days.
I was busy. Another lie.
Bullshit.
No hesitation. We stood in silence. Anything I said would only dig the hole deeper. She stepped in, careful, measured. My body freaked out, coiled up tight before I could stop it. I forced it down with effort.
There it is again.
She said, eyes narrowing. What? She pointed at me.
The way you brace, like you're waiting for a blow.
Jaw clenched. I'm not.
You are.
She came closer, breath stuttering in my chest.
Eric.
Softer, real concern behind it.
What's going on?
I wanted to lie, tell her it was nothing big. It's just, I started.
Don't.
She warned me sharp.
Stop feeding me crap. You might be a lot of things, but you're a terrible liar.
I stilled. She held me there, trapped by her honesty.
And right now?
She said, voice gentle but relentless.
You're worse than usual.
She was right. My chest ached with it. I'm handling it, I said, because it was the best I could offer. Not exactly true, but not wrong. Her face tightened, unconvinced, definitely not reassured.
Handling what?
Silence. That was the question, the one I had no real answer for, not one I could give out loud. It's school, I said finally, weak, so weak. She saw through me.
You nearly passed out 3 days ago.
I flinched. I didn't.
You did, and then you ran. No calls, no texts, no shows.
Each word dropped heavier, layering on more guilt.
That's not like you.
She was right. Wasn't like me at all. I just needed some space, I tried. At least that was half true.
From what?
Her eyes pinned me down, waiting. From him, from myself, from everything starting to unravel. She cares. She's my only real friend. I know I'm pushing her away and it kills me, but I can't tell her. Not yet. Not without everything shattering. She didn't look angry. Not at first. Instead, I saw the hurt surface.
That's new.
She said softly. My heart cramped. I'm not trying to.
Shut me out?
I stopped. Maybe I was. Maybe I had to. I'm trying to deal with something, I managed. She searched my face, looking for a lifeline.
And you think you have to do that alone?
I couldn't answer. I didn't even know how to explain that this wasn't something she could help with, not without putting her in the crossfire. I don't need help, I told her, falling back on old habits. Useless old habits. She sighed.
Yeah, except you do.
The silence was heavy this time. Then she looked at me, eyes narrowing.
This is about him, isn't it?
My heart started pounding, too loud to ignore.
Oh my God!
She whispered, genuine shock in her voice.
That's a yes.
It's not.
It is.
She stepped in even closer.
And whatever it is, it's getting to you.
I couldn't deny it anymore.
Eric.
She pressed, voice soft but urgent.
If he's hurting you?
He's not, I cut in, quick and sharp. She flinched. That made it worse.
So what is it?
I met her eyes, wishing I could find words. For a second, I almost spilled everything. The bar, the shift I'd felt, all of it. But I stopped myself. I've got it handled, I said. Not a lie, not the truth either. She didn't buy it, not even slightly.
Yeah,
She said slowly.
until you don't.
She stepped back, but she never took her eyes off me.
I'm not letting this go.
She promised. I know. She wouldn't. She's stubborn like that.
Next time, text me.
Not an order, just gentle. I will. And this time it wasn't a lie. She nodded, turned, and walked away. And I stayed put, still feeling her words in the air between us, because now it wasn't just him I had to try to manage. It was her too. and I was fast running out of room, out of excuses. Chapter 8: The Line We Don't Cross. I started avoiding the dorm after class. That was my new plan. The library felt safer, quieter, somehow neutral, with people all around. I liked it for its publicness, because it meant no sharing the same air, no cramped space, no scent stuck in old carpets or bedding, and, most importantly, no chance of running into him waiting behind the door like he belonged in every thought I was desperately trying to keep at bay. The library made sense to me. Rows of battered tables, people lurking behind half walls of books, voices soft but present, that constant shuffle of pages or click of keys. The quiet here always expected something from you: discipline, attention, order. I could work in a place like that. In fact, I always had. So, right after class, I made a habit of walking straight there with my bag slung over one shoulder, keeping my head down, making it all part of the routine. I didn't even notice I was starting to unwind until I stepped through those big glass doors. Cool air wrapped around me, the scent of paper and dust, hints of stale coffee from someone about to be reminded there's no food or drink allowed. All of it utterly normal. Good. I exhaled, actually relieved. And then I looked up and stopped. He was already there. Alexander Blackwood, sitting at one of the loner tables way in the back, right by the law books like he'd always belonged there. Books fanned out in impossibly neat rows, laptop open, notes already organized, eyes on the page like he'd lived there for hours. My stomach twisted instantly. Absolutely not. I moved a turn, slow, hoping I didn't catch his eye, ready to bolt before he even noticed I existed.
Sit.
I stopped, just like that. My head turned. I caught him looking straight at me, unmoving, regal, completely confident. I wasn't staying, I whispered.
You were.
So calm, so sure. I wasn't.
Then why did you bring your casebook?
I clenched my bag strap in my fist because, damn it, he was right. I always brought it. Somehow he caught details nobody else ever cared about. I can study somewhere else, I shot back.
You can. Sit.
And maybe I should have been angrier, and I was, but mixed in with, that was something warmer, something risky, some little part of me that wanted to do what he expected. That scared me most of all. I crossed the space slowly, every step a mistake I could feel building up, and set my bag down across from him. I sat. It was too close, but not physically. The table was plenty wide. Still, it was close enough that I could feel him there, aware, present. He went back to reading as if the matter was settled. I stared. That's it, my voice came out a whisper. His eyes drifted along the lines of his book.
What did you expect?
I don't know. Something more dramatic. There was a shift at the edge of his mouth. I hated that I noticed, hated how my heart stuttered in my chest.
You bring enough drama yourself.
My chest tightened. I looked away first, flipping my book open and reading the same sentence 3 times. The thing about public places, they're still places, and he was still in them. The library was supposed to dull everything. It didn't. His scent was fainter, diluted by the paper and dust and all those strangers, but I felt it anyway. Caught the memory of warmth, whiskey, smoke. Humiliating. I shifted, forced my focus hard onto contract law, breach, consideration, damages, anything but him.
You're drifting.
My head snapped up. I'm reading, I lied.
You've been on the same paragraph 4 minutes.
I gritted my teeth. You timing me now?
Yes.
No trace of embarrassment, just the truth. I hated that too. You're ridiculous.
And yet,
He replied, turning a page.
you're still sitting here.
Again, my pulse jumped. Because he was right. Again, I could have left. I hadn't. I glanced around, students typing, highlighting, talking in low voices, the world going on, oblivious. Meanwhile, I was sitting across from an alpha who could scare the hell out of me just by quietly existing. This is safer, I murmured. He looked up for real then.
The library?
The distance?
You came closer.
My mouth went dry, because he was right. I came to him. He never chased, never hunted me through the stacks or dragged me to sit down. This was my choice, mine, and the fact that he always made me aware of it made me want to scream. I needed to study.
Then study.
I glared. He read, infuriating as ever. So I threw myself into the text, and this time I managed to hang on for almost 10 minutes, maybe 12. Then, under the table, his foot brushed mine. I jolted. Too hard, too obvious. The girl a few tables away looked up, eyes curious. I froze. Alexander didn't even glance my way.
Accident.
He whispered. Liar. My breath came short, heart racing. I hated how I responded, how just that made my sense spike a little, how badly I wanted to bolt or snap or do anything except admit he'd gotten under my skin again. So I slid my chair back, opening the gap. He let me. Didn't follow, didn't push, which somehow made it worse. His restraint always felt loaded, more intimate than if he just put his hands on me. The minutes dragged. Then his hand moved, slow and precise, resting across the table near an open casebook, not reaching for me, just closer to the center, like a line drawn that I could cross, if I wanted. I stared. Didn't move toward it, didn't pull away, just watched.
You're doing it again.
He murmured. What? My nerves were threaded thin.
Pretending nothing's happening.
My chest squeezed hard. This is a library, I whispered. He nodded, quiet.
Yes, and you're still reacting.
I swallowed, because he was right, as always. The public setting helped, sure, but not nearly enough. Because the problem wasn't just him anymore. Awareness in itself was the trap. What do you want from me? I whispered. That got his attention. He met my gaze, steady, searching.
Honesty.
I blinked. That word landed heavy, way sharper than I expected. That's rich.
It's simple.
He replied. It's really not. The quiet between us felt strange, soft, loaded, disguised by the page turns and keyboard taps around us. He leaned in, just a fraction, enough to close the gap for me, invisible for anyone else.
You came here to avoid me. You stayed when you saw me. And you sat down.
My pulse hammered. No use fighting it. All of it true. Every defense crumbled in my hands. I hate that you keep being right, I mumbled at last. He let something show in his face just for a second, warmth buried under stillness.
I know.
I thought he'd let it end there, but he didn't.
You think this is one-sided.
I stilled. What? He pressed his fingers tighter against the page, enough for it to wrinkle, a tiny crack, in his otherwise impenetrable calm.
You think you're the only one struggling.
My breath faltered. He didn't look away.
Your scent gets through,
he said. Heat flared in my face. I used blockers.
I know.
God, again with that.
But they don't erase you.
Suddenly the whole room shrank. Kids walked past. Chairs scraped. Pages ruffled. None of it cut through the space between us.
You act like I'm unaffected.
He went on, voice so low no one else could hear.
I'm not.
I stared at him, the world growing fuzzy around the edges. Because that changed something. I didn't know what, but it felt huge and real, and it tilted everything. You seem fine, I managed. He paused, watching me.
I choose to seem fine.
It hit me right in the gut. I knew exactly what that meant. I'd built my whole life on the same miserable skill, choice, control, keeping myself in line. And if you weren't, the words spilled out before I could rethink. His gaze held mine, steady, unreadable.
Then this conversation would be happening somewhere much less public.
My breath caught. He leaned back, cool as ever, eyes on his notes like he hadn't just wrecked me a little.
Read,
he told me. My hands shook when I picked up my pen, because suddenly, this boundary we played at, drawing lines on the map between dorm, classroom, library, public, private, it wasn't just me testing it, he stood on it too. That made everything feel more dangerous. I stayed for 3 hours, longer than I'd planned, longer than was safe, really. The study session stayed just that, study. Nothing happened. No accidental touch, no whispered instructions, no line I could point to as the thing that crossed over. We just read our books, scribbled notes, bickered quietly about case law. He corrected me 2 times. I managed to catch him out once. He looked honestly pleased with himself. I hated that. And through all of it, he stayed in full control, measured, present, perfectly himself, which meant that every reaction in my body was my own fault. Every skip breath, every heightened awareness when he shifted, every time I glanced up and found him already watching me, mine, not his. That was worse than any pressure or game he could have played. So when he finally shut his book and said,
You have evidence in 40 minutes.
I stood so quickly my chair nearly tipped. I know, I said.
You're leaving?
Yes.
You're early.
I like being early,
You like running.
he said quietly. My jaw clenched. I'll see you later. I didn't wait. Just grabbed my bag and walked straight out, acting like I wasn't fleeing, failing at it the entire way. Once outside, the doors thudded closed behind me and I could finally breathe again. And then, not really, because distance didn't fix anything anymore. That pattern infuriated me. I trekked across campus fast, through cold air and students and snatches of conversation, all of them normal, just passing time. The world looked ordinary. I felt like a live wire wrapped in expensive cologne and a mile of denial. My next class was all the way in the East Lecture Hall. I ducked in to find it empty, at least 15-20 minutes before anyone else would show up. Perfect. I needed quiet, absence, places unsaturated by that scent. So I walked in, empty rows, shadowy corners, afternoon sunlight breaking across the floor, everything still. For the first time all day, nobody was watching me. Not one pair of eyes, no pressure, no Alexander, quietly stripping away my composure across the desk. I let out a breath, long and heavy, hoping for calm. Then, because apparently I'd forgotten how to make rational decisions, I texted Lena. You free? I waited, staring at my screen, chewing on whether to type more. I owe you an explanation. Then I deleted that. Too much truth. I sent only the first sentence. She replied before I could even lock my phone. Where are you? East Lecture Hall, early for class. 3 blinking dots, then be there in 5. No question, no doubt. Of course. That's Lena. I should have told her to stay away, pretended everything was fine, remembered that inviting Lena meant she would always show up and never halfway. Instead, I stayed parked in the middle row, waiting. My pulse was still spiking from the library. I carried the ghost of nearness with me, the phantom of his words and the look in his eyes. It wouldn't let me go. I rubbed my face hard. Focus. Just focus. Lena was safe. Lena was normal. Lena was outside this mess. The door banged once against the frame, and Lena strode in like she had every right to the place. Hair mussed, work bag swinging, eyes locked on me, no hesitation. She climbed the stairs 2 at a time, dropped into the seat next to me. Too close, too familiar, too easy.
You look sucked dry.
Good to see you too.
I mean it.
I stared ahead, anywhere but her. The podium, the screen, the nothing filling the space. I'm fine.
Strike 1.
I almost laughed, but just let out a breath. She watched me for a second, then leaned back.
You asked for me.
Wasn't a complaint, just facts. I texted you.
You never text me first.
That made my chest ache because she was absolutely right. I said I would.
You did. So what happened?
I searched for an answer, mouth opening, then closing again. Where would I even start? The dorm? The miserable heat? Alexander Blackwood pretending that control was as simple as sitting at a library table? I don't know, I blurted at last. That at least was true. Her face shifted, less guarded, more worry in her eyes.
That bad?
I let my breath out slow. That complicated. Silence stretched.
This about him?
My body answered before I could, the way everything tensed. Lena's eyes narrowed.
Come on.
It's not.
It is!
She turned fully to face me.
Eric, you disappear for days, look like hell, and now you're texting me from an empty classroom like you're waiting for a hostage exchange.
Despite myself, a strained little laugh broke out of me. It startled both of us.
There you are.
She said, softly, warmth breaking through. I felt something loosen inside, realizing how tightly I'd been wound. I can't explain it, I said quietly.
Try.
I stared straight ahead, empty seats, pale sunlight. He notices everything. I didn't even mean to say it, but it slipped out anyway. Lena went still.
That's not where I thought this was going.
I know,
He notices everything?
she echoed, squinting.
Why is that such a problem?
Because when he saw me, I saw myself. Every defense I'd built up felt paper thin, even now. I could still feel him across the table. Because I can't stop reacting to it, I muttered. She let that hang.
Oh,
I twisted, waiting. What does that mean? She shrugged a little, careful.
I just thought this was about competition or grades or him being intolerably perfect.
It is about him being insufferable, I insisted.
That I believe. Reacting how?
I swallowed, hot shame prickling. I looked away. Nope, she snorted.
You did call me, you know.
I'm rethinking that now.
Too late.
At the back of the room, the door opened on a new wave of students. Voices, footsteps, the world seeping back in. Lena stood, but not before turning to me again. We're not done.
I know.
She picked up her bag, watching me for a beat too long. Was that sympathy? Oh no.
That must be terrifying.
I frowned. What?
Liking someone who sees through you.
And suddenly she was gone, melting into the growing crowd. I just sat there, frozen, rooted in my chair as voices and footsteps filled the space, denying everything. This wasn't about liking someone, wasn't. But then, why had I texted her? Why did the idea of returning to the library unsettle me? Why did the thought of Alexander knowing I'd run away make warmth unfurl inside my chest? The seat beside me stayed empty, and for reasons I hated, I missed being watched. Chapter 9. What waiting feels like. The seat next to me was still empty. It shouldn't have meant anything. Lena's words were supposed to matter more than that. The lecture should have mattered more. The professor definitely should have meant more to me. But my mind kept drifting back to the library. I couldn't stop thinking about that table wedged near the law stacks, an open casebook, a hand splayed across the center line like it was always meant to be there. And the plain truth that I'd run away. Again. Once I see a pattern, I can't ignore it. I start to hate it. Lately, I feel like I catch everything. The lecture wrapped up. Students left in slow, tumbling waves. All around me, chatter sparking up, phones flipping out, laptops snapping shut, everyone picking up the thread of their own lives again. I just sat there too long, stretching it out for no good reason. Standing up would mean figuring out where to go next. Back to my dorm, to the library, or hell, anywhere else. My body already knew where I'd end up. I stood up, annoyed at myself for being so predictable. I made up excuses, going back for my notes to finish some chapter, convincing myself I was all about routine and efficiency. Really, it's easier to lie when what you're saying sounds reasonable, especially when you're lying to yourself. The walk felt longer this time. Every step stretched out, like the universe was giving me plenty of chances to turn back. Of course, I kept going. The library doors opened. I breathed in that cool air, paper, dust, old silence. And there he was. Same table, just a fresh pile of books. Like he hadn't moved an inch, as if I'd only stepped away for a second, instead of trying to put miles between us. He saw me as soon as I walked in. Too quick, always too quick. He didn't wave, no smile. He didn't call me over. He just fixed his eyes on me, waiting for me. That hurt, honestly, because it meant it was my turn to act. So I walked over, slow, again, dropped my bag, sat down. For a while, neither of us said anything. I listened to someone's pages rustling somewhere behind us, the clack of a keyboard a few rows away, a cough from across the aisle, just regular sounds, completely useless.
You came back.
He murmured. I flipped open my notebook. I forgot something.
No, you didn't.
I hated how fast he could see through me. You don't know that.
You never once looked in your bag.
My jaw clenched. Sometimes I think you go out of your way to be impossible. His mouth twitched just a bit.
I'm starting to think you go out of your way to argue with me.
My pulse jerked, annoying. I don't.
Then stop it.
I looked right at him. He just turned back to his book. Absolutely infuriating. I stared down at my notes but couldn't focus. Not because he was talking, but because he wasn't. Silence with him had a weight all its own. I lost track of time. Could have been 10 minutes or only 2. Being around him messed with my sense of time. Then he spoke.
You texted her.
My head snapped up. What?
Lena.
My stomach twisted. How do you know that?
You smell different.
The room felt like it pressed pause. I had no response. Nothing. What?
You smell calmer.
I glanced away. That was too close somehow. Not just what he said, but the fact that he noticed it all. That's creepy, I muttered.
It's true.
Doesn't make it less weird,
No,
he said, like it was nothing.
it usually doesn't.
I should have left right then. Should have grabbed my bag and made some kind of escape, just to prove I still could. Instead,
What did she say?
I stared at him. You can't be serious.
You're still here. So, yeah.
I exhaled, slow. She thinks I like someone. He didn't move, didn't even blink, just waited.
And do you?
I felt my pulse hammering, sharp enough to ache. This conversation's over. I reached for my bag. He beat me to it, his hand on the strap before mine. Not grabbing, not holding me back. Just there, steady, warm. My heart hiccuped. My breath caught. Way too much, way too fast. He stared at the bag, then up at me, then slowly moved his hand away.
You react every time.
Stop narrating me.
Stop being so easy to read.
I hated that. I wanted to be unreadable, especially to him. That's rich coming from you.
Ask.
I frowned. What?
You keep saying I hide too much, so ask me something.
Everything around us started to fade out. Crowds, homework, all of it. I probably should have refused, should have seen it for what it was, but were you waiting for me? No hesitation. I would have had to think about it first.
Yes.
He let the word hang there. Heavy, unfiltered, more honest than any game. I swallowed. Why? Another pause. He meant it.
Because I knew you'd come back when you stopped pretending you wouldn't.
It was shocking how warm that made me feel inside. That's called arrogance.
That's called recognizing the pattern.
I laughed, quick and helpless. He watched me do it too closely, his gaze almost burning. Your turn, I said, trying to change the subject and instantly realizing my mistake. He looked at me, approval. Dangerous, that thought.
Why did you actually text Lena?
His question landed so much softer than it should have, and that just made it harder to answer. I stared at my hands because I needed someone normal, someone safe, someone who'd tell me I wasn't losing my grip because I wanted to say your name out loud and maybe hear how ridiculous the whole thing sounded. I needed grounding, I said finally. True, at least part of it. He didn't look away.
And did it help?
I thought about Lena calling me out, about how she always saw more than I wished, about her saying that liking someone who can see all the way through you is terrifying. No, that must have done something, even if it was small and hard to see. He leaned in just a little. No one else would notice, but I did.
Then try this.
We said quietly. My throat went dry. What?
Stay.
That was it. One word. No threat. No push. No strings attached. Just a choice. And, weirdly, that was a lot more dangerous than anything else he might do. He knew giving me the option made it harder for me to turn away. I should have left. Should have protected whatever self-preservation I had left. But I sat down again. Fully this time. He glanced down at my hand by the center line, then back at me.
Good.
And yeah, my chest tightened. That shouldn't have felt good. Shouldn't have made me want to impress him. But it did. We studied for another hour, no touching, no games, just working in tandem. Every so often, we whispered heated arguments over legal details. Just the dull ache of wanting and being near the line, but not crossing it. By the time we packed our things, dusk had drenched the windows. I grabbed my bag, our hands brushed. Barely a second, skin to skin, almost nothing. It felt like a jolt of lightning. My breath caught. His deepened. Neither of us moved. He was the first to pull back. Controlled as always.
Dorm?
Such a simple question. It packed a punch. I locked eyes with him. I heard everything he wasn't saying. Are you going to run again? Will you come with me? Will you actually choose this? My heart pounded in my throat. Yeah, I said, quietly. So, together, we left the library. Chapter 10. What We Choose. We walked back, not saying a word. Not because it was uncomfortable, not at all. It just wasn't easy either. The silence settled between us, taking on a shape and meaning of its own, almost like its own private dialect. Our footsteps traced the twisting campus paths. The air was cool now, pressing against skin that still felt flushed. As we went, we passed students darting around in noisy little packs, laughter echoing out as if their lives hadn't bent and twisted the way ours had. Everything looked simpler on their side. We didn't touch. We didn't have to. The awareness, real, thick, electric, flowed between us anyway. It was like a live wire. When we finally made it inside the dorm, something about the place felt different. The building was quieter than normal. Most people were probably out somewhere else, doors all shut, hallways sat in shadows, safer, in a weird way, or maybe more dangerous, depending on how you looked at it. I unlocked our door and stepped in. He followed, and the door clicked closed behind us. Just like that, everything felt somehow shifted. Other spaces, out in public, in the library, along the campus path, worked because there were rules, boundaries, momentum carrying us forward or apart. This room? It just had memory. Too much of it. That damn bed I'd spent too many nights fighting myself on. The windowsill still haunted by that ratty, forgotten jacket he left behind. The desk where I'd lied to myself again and again, scribbling down truths I refused to believe. But now he stood in here too, right in the middle of it. I set my bag down, too carefully really. He set his by the desk, not saying anything either. Still, my pulse started to race. No looming lecture to run off to. No excuse to grab, no crowd to disappear inside. For once, we were left with just this actual choice. Again.
You're showing again,
he said, almost too quiet to hear. I frowned. Showing what? He paused, the silence saying more than words.
You know.
Heat started up deep in my body, immediate, undeniable. Pressing, calling. It had only been a week. I should have had 2 months, easy. Triggered heats didn't always restart everything. I only hope it reset. Fighting it was useless. I hate when you do that.
Do what?
Act like you know me better than I do. His eyes didn't leave mine.
I know what you do. That's not the same as knowing you.
The difference hit hard. He was right, even now. I had to look away, staring at my desk as I felt the fever start, my abdomen cramping a little. My hands fumbled for something to do, unzipping my bag, shuffling papers around, pointless. Just pretending at control.
Eric.
My name from his lips, low, close, almost a touch in itself. I stilled.
Look at me.
Not a command, not harsh, but I did. He was closer now somehow. Just one step away, close enough that his warmth seeped through the air. I caught the scent of smoke and whiskey under the clean cotton and cool night. My breath snagged, then, embarrassingly, I breathed him in without even meaning to. Instant reaction, no disguising it.
You're doing it again.
What? My voice barely above a whisper.
Trying to outrun something that's standing right in front of you.
That doesn't mean anything.
It means stop acting like this is just happening to you.
His words cut clear and deep. Impossible to dodge. Anger pushed up, easier than anything else. You think I asked for this?
No.
Too quick. Too certain.
I think you keep choosing it anyway.
His words stuck, because that's what I hated the most. I never asked for a new room. I never left. I sat there across from him. I kept coming back. I walked beside him tonight. I chose all of it. My body leaned forward before the rest of me did. Just a little, just enough. He watched the movement and held my gaze.
You see?
He asked, soft. I swallowed, throat dry. That's not fair.
No,
He agreed, steady as ever.
it isn't.
Then he took a step closer. Slow, careful, no rush, no pressure, leaving room if I wanted out. I could have moved away. He made sure there was space for that, but I didn't step back. His hand rose, paused just next to my jaw, waiting for permission. Here it was again, the choice. I leaned in, not thinking, just needing. His touch was warm, steady, not possessing, more dangerous than any force because he was so careful with me. My eyes slipped shut just for a second. Some kind of soft, broken sound came out of me, pure, involuntary. I hated how I sounded, how he made me want to sound like that. His thumb swept along my jaw, just once, slow, not taking, not demanding, just there.
You're burning up.
He murmured. I know.
You should have told me sooner.
I didn't want this. His hand stilled.
No,
He said, voice nearly broken.
you didn't want what it meant.
He was right. God, he was always right. It wasn't the heat I was afraid of. It was what came with it. Needing someone, relying on them. All the softness and vulnerability I'd spent years training out of myself. I won't be handled, I said, rougher than I meant to, even as I unconsciously nuzzled into his hand. His eyes flashed, darkening. Voice suddenly hotter.
Good,
It hit me like a shock.
because I'm not here to handle you.
A pause, pressure building. Then what are you here for? I asked. He hesitated for just a second. Then he said, quiet, certain, no act.
You.
My chest went too tight, painful, almost. No one had ever said something like that to me, really meant it. Not all the assumptions, just me. Something inside me started to crack. I reached for him first, fingers grabbing his shirt, not pulling, just anchoring to what was real. His breath deepened, but that was all. His control was a force, I could feel it. You're affected, I murmured, voice low, a little rough,
Yes.
and still standing there like it's nothing. He gave a little growl, eyes fixed on mine, muscles tense.
I told you, I choose to.
The room tilted a little, not from dizziness this time, but realization. I'd always thought that control meant denying or burying things. Staying far, always restrained. But for him, control was being willing to feel everything and still make a choice. I slipped from his hold, edging closer on my own, chest brushing his. Heat shuddered through me, enough to make my knees weak. My scent leaked heavy and sweet, drowning out the blockers. I wrapped my arms around him, pressed my face into his shoulder, breathing him in, little noises escaping, moans or purrs or just air. His hands landed on my waist, steady, never asking for more than I was willing to offer.
Tell me to stop.
He whispered. I shook my head.
Tell me to leave room.
No.
Tell me what you want.
The question leveled me worse than any touch. No one ever asked Omegas what we wanted. Not really. Not anywhere I'd ever been. I looked up, at his face, at the man who could have taken any control he wanted, but waited instead, watching me fight with myself. The alpha who could have commanded, but over and over, chose to give me choice. You, I whispered. Barely sound, but it was enough. He went still, then focused, intent crystal clear. He kissed me how he did everything, steady, capable, controlled, no greed or rush, just breaking down every inch of distance I had left. My fingers curled hard in his shirt as a sound tangled itself in my throat. Heat inside me sharpened and shifted, slick pooling at my entrance. When he finally pulled away, it was only for a breath, our foreheads pressed together. I felt exposed, my scent, my face, fever bright and hopeful and ashamed. Again, I said, before pride could catch up with me. His mouth twitched, almost smiling.
Honesty suits you.
I hate you.
No, you really don't.
I laughed, just once, and there was no hiding in it. Then I kissed him for real, hard, and a little desperate, not careful at all, every bit of want and frustration turning it greedy. I pressed in, searching for more skin, more of him. He grabbed my waist tighter. The grip had strain in it, pressure biting in, which only drove me harder. We broke apart, only barely panting, but couldn't step away. I could feel his breath on my lips, smell both our arousals, mine, definitely overpowering now, need making my skin too sensitive, my body too restless for anything but relief. I needed him, really needed him. I slipped my hand under his shirt, desperate for skin. Every touch burned. His muscles flexed under my palm, solid and warm. I always knew he worked out, but feeling it was something else.
Eric?
Even his voice was strained, rough, warning. I cut him off, lips pressing to his again, biting gently, apologizing with a lazy trail of tongue. Move your hands, I told him, and he did. I fumbled his pants down, bearing him to the air. He was big, bigger than me, and flushed, a little slick, trembling when I touched. I ran my fingers along him, feeling the heat and pulse. He caught my wrist, groaning.
Eric.
He warned again, but I ignored it, dropped to my knees, mouth watering. He tasted salt and darkness, hips jerking, my free hand anchoring to his thigh.
Fuck!
He hissed, hands in my hair.
You're gonna make me lose it.
I looked up, locking eyes. Good, I want you to. He didn't hesitate after that. Hauled me up in one quick move, his rough grip grounding me. His mouth latched on my neck, teeth skimming just short of pain, and I whimpered at the contact. Please, I heard myself beg. Please, Alex, I need it. Need you. He laid me back on the bed, covering me with his body, kissing me full and slow like we had all the time in the world. Suddenly, everything cooled a notch. My fever, my frantic thoughts. There was space to feel instead of just react.
There you are,
he murmured, looking down at me. He held me close but didn't crush or force, just kept the air around us steady, real.
Eric?
Yeah, I gasped.
Are you sure?
That was a big question. Maybe the only one that really mattered. I'd said I wanted him, yes, but this, it was a lot. I was in heat, timing was messy. But my mind went quiet when I met his eyes. His desire matched mine, scent thick and dizzying. If it wasn't now, it would be tomorrow or next week or the week after. Yeah, I smiled, dragging him down for a kiss, I'm sure. He deepened the kiss, grinding against me, making us both moan.
Rules.
He managed, voice tight.
Set rules.
Off, I mumbled, tugging at his shirt, losing my train of thought as his hips kept moving. Fabric hurts. He paused to pull off his shirt, and God, he looked even more gorgeous out of clothes, broad and strong, and real under my hands. He kissed me again and took mine off too, easing me back onto the mattress. His mouth mapped out my neck, my chest, my stomach, peeling my pants away until I lay bared, skin tingling from the air against my fevered body. He pulled me back with a hand on my jaw, voice edged with command.
Another.
I tried to answer, but only a moan slipped out as his fingers wrapped around me, stroking, making my hips lift off the mattress in search of more.
Another.
His demand sharpened. No, Mark, not, I forced out. That was all I could manage.
Good.
He mouthed at my ear, biting gently, kissing my throat. I melted at that, arching into every kiss, desperate for more.
You're so damn responsive.
He growled at my neck, just next to the bond spot.
So needy.
Words tangled. I swallowed honesty. It's because it's you. His teeth grazed me again, not breaking skin, just sending sharp heat curling through me. Slick poured out of me at the sound of his low approval, and he slid his hand to touch.
Fuck.
He moaned.
Another.
This time, more command than request, his hunger bleeding through. He covered my shoulder in bites and hickeys. He toyed at my entrance, pressing slick inside, and I lost myself for a moment, back arching, head snapping back as one finger worked into me.
Eric?
His voice was wrecked.
Another, now.
Just no kids, was all I managed. It was enough. He made a sound of assent and pressed another finger in.
You're so tight.
I couldn't reply, only buck and whimper, pleasure rattling through me.
So wet.
The sounds filled the room. Too much, too loud. Alone I'd be embarrassed, but with him I just wanted more. I need you, I begged, hips rolling with every thrust of his fingers. Please. He shushed me gently, working me open with patience, my back arched, body fluttering around his hand. No, I gasped. No, please. The teasing, the kissing, his fingers inside me. It was all too much, but not enough. He kissed me again, mouth smothering whatever else I was about to say. He wrung another finger inside me, opening me up until I trembled. The burn faded, replaced quickly by spreading pleasure. When he finally took his hand away, I was left shaking, utterly undone.
Ready?
He hovered above me, breath ragged. More, I moaned. Alex, more. With one more kiss, he lined himself up and pressed in, my legs wrapping around him automatically, pulling him deeper. He took it slow at first, controlling every motion, watching my face. His name fell from my lips, a plea, a prayer, an anchor. He pushed in deeper, filling me open and wide, claiming every part of me. At first his pace stayed gentle, letting me adjust. Then, only then, loosening up, letting the rawness creep in. The bed creaked, air heavy with our sounds. Panting, moaning, heat and need thick between us. Our scents tangled together, smoky warmth, biting apple, whiskey. Home!
Eric.
He growled, teeth scraping my shoulder, so close to the bond spot but not quite crossing that last line. I was lost in the haze, begging him, urging him on. He held back, thrust faster, gentle fabric tearing somewhere in the background as I whined for more. He paused, letting me catch my breath, but my body only climbed higher, still so hot, still aching for him.
Good boy.
He teased, as he stilled inside me, then left me empty. I whimpered, reaching. He kissed me, pressing me back.
Be good.
He warned in a low, dangerous growl. I wanted to be good, but I needed him too damn badly. Alpha, I pleaded, and something broke in him. He slammed back into me, paced wild and unrestrained now. I lost count of everything, fell apart and back together, chased over that edge again and again. It was all too much, too sensitive, and somehow never enough. He caught every bit of it, his praise dripping into my ear, voice nearly broken from heat and need.
That's it. Such a good Omega for me.
My body spasmed around him, so hot and tight I was reduced to just a string of moans, every word lost to the intensity of his voice, his touch, his presence.
Come for me, Eric baby, come for me.
He groaned, and I did, vision whiting out, shuddering as he knotted me deep, his rhythm lost in final, desperate thrusts, his body locked to mine, bond spot throbbing against my shoulder. Everything else vanished. I don't know when I passed out, but when I woke, it was still dark, mind fuzzy, but heat sated, body loose and at peace for the first time in ages. Alex's arm was wrapped snug around my waist, holding me close.
Sleep,
he murmured, drowsy but protective. I sank against him and let go, falling back into sleep in the safety of his arms, warm and whole and content. If you are liking my story so far, please like and subscribe to know when part 2 is told.